So welcome to the teeny tiny shoebox
Oh, I
apartment
still
inside
have
the
this
arcade.
on. I didn't even notice
There are
what the
lots of
last
others in
video.
the building just like this.
This is
So
the last
mine
one.
is about
And
250
then I guess I'll go
square
to sleep.
feet. There's a walkway right in front of the facade because this used to be a shop front, and so people had to access all of the shops in the building.
While malls across the U.S. are facing store closures and empty parking lots, some are finding a new life from an unlikely source. We are here at the Arcade Mall in Providence, Rhode Island, the oldest indoor shopping mall in the country. The Arcade had long been a center point in Providence's bustling downtown, but like other malls, it fell on hard times and was completely vacant. But rather than letting this historic building fall into ruin, developers came in and decided to build 48 micro-lofts here on the second floor and up here on the third floor. While top-tier malls continue to be in high demand, nearly 34 million square feet of U.S. mall space is vacant and off the market. Almost 70% of Americans live within an hour of a mall that has a high vacancy rate, low consumer traffic, or is abandoned altogether. At the same time, the country is facing a massive housing deficit of 4.5 million homes.
There's a housing problem in a lot of
And
markets
I never
across the
go
US,
to
right?
it.
This is an opportunity to find land and have a built-in customer base to get people into the mall.
Monday through Friday, this is really busy down here. It's definitely, people in the offices working, getting lunch or whatever, and
I think it would be cool to live in a shopping mall. Thinking on it, you have your little apartment. Although I like being in a house. I've been in a house my entire life, but a cute little apartment could be okay. But I just love backyards, okay? But in this situation, you'd have like your cute little apartment, an arcade down the way, some food places. I don't really care about the clothing crap, but arcade and a coffee and whatever, You wouldn't have to go far. I could take you guys to dinner. Can you imagine if I lived in a shopping mall and we just went to dinner downstairs in the shopping mall? Man, I would probably create a whole other channel for that. I would make a whole channel dedicated to that. Yeah.
first downstairs.
As of January 2022, at least 192 U.S. malls plan to add a housing component. The U.S. has about 1,100 regional and super-regional malls, about 8.5% lower than 2015. So, can new housing developments help revive the classic American mall? And what's it like to live inside one? CNBC went to Providence, Rhode Island
Looks kind
to
of
find
small. That's the only bad part.
Amy Hinyon has been living on the top floor of a 3-story mall in Providence, Rhode Island for the past 2.5 years.
What's it like to live at the mall?
It's really great. It's cool to be part of such a historic building and knowing that
I remember when I was a teenager, we pretty much lived at the mall. That was that was the 90s. That's what you did as a 90s kid. You hung out at the mall and played video games. That was literally, if you weren't at the mall, you were at home playing video games. But the mall was it was a big part in the 90s, that's for sure.
every single one of these units used to be a shop of some kind.
But living in a converted store
Especially with
does
arcades
present
and
some
shit.
challenges.
Here is my very tiny kitchen. It is very small, but it is workable. And one of the interesting things about the
Reading
units in
and
the
video
building
games?
is that because of codes,
Yeah, me, I was always
you
at the
can't have any
arcade.
cooking devices with
Yeah.
an open flame. So none of the units.
Yeah, I was always asking Dad for quarters. Yeah, and he always gave them because he knew I was safe at the arcade. Yeah, he liked when I went to the arcade. Yeah, because to him, going to the arcade meant I wasn't getting into trouble. Yeah. Yeah. It was if I asked to go to like the movies or something, then he started getting a little iffy. But but my dad was quite different than like the average parent. You know, back in the 90s, parents didn't really like gaming and stuff, right? But my dad saw gaming as a way that I was staying out of trouble. So didn't have friends until 2005 due to the stutter. And you're probably younger than me as well, right? So the 90s. Well, you said you were reading and, doing video games in the 90s, so maybe we're around the same, at least close, because it sounds like you at least experienced the 90s, so yeah.
Have stoves or ranges?
88?
Do you ever have
yeah,
any
close
concerns about
enough.
privacy?
Not really. It's something you get used to living in the building, having people coming and going. Everybody has blinds in their apartment that they can raise or lower as they like.
It's like you're younger, but I feel like the almost 10-year gap that is, it's almost the same generation, like yeah. I feel like that kind of age gap, they did the same things, so
Despite those challenges, residents say having access to shops and restaurants makes living at the arcade a unique experience.
I get my hair cut in the salon downstairs, and there's little lunch spots, so you don't even have to leave the building. There's a bookstore downstairs, and they'll do.
yeah, but it would get pricey if you're doing everything in the mall. Like, yeah. Have they mentioned the price of the apartment yet?
Author talks in the private lounge area.
Avoiding New England's sometimes stormy weather is, of course, another perk.
If it's like pouring rain outside or if it's snowy, you just really can't be bothered to go out in the weather, you can still go downstairs and take advantage of those amenities.
And it's not just long-term renters that are attracted to the mall. Scott Sheehan is a real estate investor and rents out his apartment on Airbnb.
Some of these business owners that are down on the first floor, how important is it to them to kind of have a built-in customer base with these residents on the second and third floor?
I know a lot of folks are very loyal to, many of the bars, restaurants, clothing stores downstairs. So, the business folks downstairs definitely are interested in maintaining that relationship with the residents.
You definitely feel like you're part of the community more so than if you were just in a standard apartment building. It has been interesting with people.
The only thing is it's super small. There's another thing that I've been interested in, and I watched a couple of videos and then I was all bummed out that I found it to be too small, and that was tiny houses, which is like a big thing now, but they're too small. I'm too used to a house. Yeah. They're smaller than an apartment. Like an apartment is bigger than a fucking tiny house. And then this sucker, this is like, I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't even seem like an apartment. It just seems like a room, like a hotel. Like if you got the cheapest hotel room you could, that's what that would be. It looks nice, but the bed is literally right beside the kitchen. Like, yeah, to me, that's not an apartment.
Trying to unlock my door thinking that this is an Airbnb apartment. So sometimes you have to deal with the public more than you would in a regular home. But for me, that's a small compromise.
That's why I'm curious what the cost is.
When a mall dies, communities lose more than just a shopping destination.
Is it?
Malls often serve
Oh my
as
God.
economic hubs, generating big
Over here, the smallest apartment you can get over here is what we call a bachelor apartment. And those are so tiny. my business, it's a cleaning business. So I've been in a lot of these like different sized places. And in the bachelor apartments, they are like one room. Like you walk in and it's like that actually. It's very much like that. But there's more space. Like that's so kind of that, like there's no spaces between their stuff in this one, right? But the bachelor is like you can fit a bed in there. You have a bathroom, and then you have like a tiny kitchen, and yeah, yeah, it's like it's so small. It's so small. Yeah, I don't know how anyone can live in a bachelor. Yeah.
Billions in tax revenue and creating thousands of jobs. In 2020, U.S. malls and shopping centers contributed $400 billion.
But I get why people choose The Bachelor. It is super fucking pricey in the city here. Yeah. So even a bachelor is running them almost 2,000 a month. And it's like nothing. Like you don't even have like a separate room. Yeah. But it's very pricey here. Yeah.
Dollars in tax revenue. When malls close, it triggers an economic domino effect. Local businesses suffer, jobs are lost, and vacant spaces become eyesores. To combat this, developers are transforming dead malls into mixed-use spaces, offices, medical facilities.
Friend wanted to move to New York. What he could afford was a room the size of a child twin bed that folded into the wall. He had a laundromat down the street and a shared bathroom for the entire floor. I bet, yeah, I could see New York being quite pricey, for sure. Yeah, I've never been to New York. I should take a trip to New York one of these days. Yeah.
And housing. Of these conversions, nearly 54% are being used for residences and office space. Once upon a time, retailers like Macy's and JCPenney were the anchors of America's malls. But department stores are shrinking. Macy's plans to close 150 of its namesake stores by 2027. JCPenney, which has already closed hundreds of stores since declaring bankruptcy, is closing 4 more between this year and next, despite a $1 billion turnaround investment plan.
I don't think
When
we
you
have
have
a JCPenney.
retail space, it can be easier to clear that. Most of what a retail site is parking lot. So you don't have to demo
Definitely
much
not
to
a
demo a
Macy's.
parking lot, and the buildings themselves are generally easier to demo and then adapt into a retail space.
The arcade is a little bit different than some of the other mall-based residential projects out there. Most of them, like the one at Flatiron Crossing in Broomfield, Colorado, are adjacent to the mall and connected by green spaces or walkways.
This was a vacant parking lot, underutilized parking here at the mall, and we, decided to go to a mixed-use project here.
All of the benefits that the shopping center itself bring to the equation. You have a highly amenitized residential project that's much more desirable than something that might just be, in an isolated location.
Not only does it meet housing needs, but it also revitalizes the property by bringing in a new customer base that can boost on-site restaurants, gyms, and entertainment venues. While housing in malls sounds promising, it's not without its challenges. Zoning laws can be a major hurdle. Malls are typically zoned for commercial or mixed use, not multifamily residential. Developers often need approval from local jurisdictions to move forward.
Like any other developer,
Right. I can't even imagine that, like, you don't move into the mall apartments if you got family, right? You gotta be a single person. There's no way you're fitting even 2 people in one of those.
are having to navigate things like interest rates, construction costs, the capital markets, and so on.
Another obstacle is design. Most malls have limited windows, which are essential for residential spaces because they need natural light, making it difficult to convert certain parts of the mall. Usually, only the exterior-facing retail spaces are suitable for housing. Converting commercial office space into apartments is another trend, but it's often very expensive. A study found that in 5 U.S. metro areas hit hardest by remote work, the estimated office acquisition price would need to drop by 50% for the conversion to be financially feasible.
Conversion projects are really tricky because, a lot depends upon existing conditions, which you might not always know about. But to give you a range, on a very low end, you'd be looking at maybe $200 a square foot to convert, where on the upper end, you might be looking more at like $800 or more per
It's
square
kind
foot
of
to convert.
cute. It's
Despite
just
those
very
headwinds,
small.
malls across America just might have a second chance if they can truly become the housing hubs of the future.
The mall's becoming cool again.
Like, what I think it would be perfect for is the guy earlier was talking about how he rents his out for the Airbnb. That's what it would be good for. I don't think it's suitable to live in, but you go visit the city for a couple of weeks and you need like a hotel, Like, I think it's good for that. Yeah.
And so being able to live by it, work by it, play by it, go to restaurants by it, we're definitely seeing this as a trend.
Some people are confused and they'll say, like, why would you want to live in a space that's small? But for me, it's about having a reasonable apartment at a reasonable
Where you
price
put the computer.
that will force me out into the community and interacting with the people outside. The point is not to stay in the...
Yeah, I couldn't do it. Now that... Because, well, one, where would you put the computer? We'd have to get rid of the bed. Computer is more important, okay? We'll just get like a tiny little futon or something, and we can sleep on that. And then second, can we get internet in there? Because I'm not doing Wi-Fi. Just saying. like do we have the connections to get some decent internet?
250 square foot studio, it's to interact with the downtown that you're living in.
Oh, that's it. Well, that was interesting. Yeah. Would you live in a place like that, Drackle? Or are you like me and you like your space? Because you're in a house, right? Because I know for me, I might live in this bedroom for the most part, but I like my space. I like the fact that if I wanted to, I can go out the backyard, hit up the barbecue. We should do a stream out in the backyard one of these days. Yeah. But like this is just where I like to be most of the time. But I have this whole house, There, I can go to the backyard when I want. I've got the kitchen downstairs with the living room and the pantry and then the basement on another level. And I like that. I like having a 3-level house, And it's not like I have a lot of stuff. Most of my stuff is all in this room, honestly. Aside from furniture and stuff. But I just I like the space, Yeah. Because the thing is with something like that, every time you want to get something, you have to think about it, right? If that chick goes, I don't know, say she's taking a walk and she looks in the window of a store and she sees this cute little small chair, she has to think about where she would put that small chair in her tiny apartment. And, well, we just saw it. There's no place. She'd have to get rid of the bed, To be fair, my bed takes up a good portion of this. Like that bed behind me is a queen size. So it's a pretty big bed. I don't even know why I have a queen size bed. It's just me. Well, sometimes Mystic, if I open up the door late at night, she'll like bolt in and then I'll be too tired to let her out. But for the most part, just me. And when it's not just me, it's a tiny cat, she don't take up much space. Yeah.